This week was interesting. Started off kind of scary. I had a good friend of mine that went down on a bicycle on Sunday. Um, so it started off kind of messed up. Um, then, just with work, work kicked my ass this week. Uh, the gym kicked my ass even harder this week. So yeah, this week was challenging. Hey guys, how you doing? It's Richard, Fat to Fit. I just want to touch base with you guys, see how everybody's doing. I wanted to talk to you about a bunch of different things that have come up this past week. This week was interesting. Started off kind of scary. I had a good friend of mine that went down on a bicycle on Sunday. Um, so it started off kind of messed up. Um, then just with work, work kicked my ass this week. Uh, the gym kicked my ass even harder this week. So yeah, this week was challenging. But here we are. Today's Friday. It's the 19th of September. So 6:37 p.m. So yeah, thank God we made it through. Um, so I kind of wanted to talk about what my goals this week were. Primarily, I was really trying to get in shape for a ride that I'm going to be doing in in about 3 weeks. It's a ride called Cycle Mount Doro. It's probably one of the very few rides or organized rides that you can do in South Florida that has some elevation. The rest of South Florida is flat. This is in Central Florida, um, and it's in Claremont, which the name always slips my mind. But it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful ride. The people are nice. It usually ends up being pretty big event. It's a 2 day event. Uh, but a couple of buddies of mine, we rent an Airbnb. We go up there and we have some fun. So this week, yesterday, primarily because the weather's been horrible, not conducive to riding outdoors. I did do a Zwift ride yesterday, which was a climbing portal ride. Um, not too difficult, but not easy by any stretch of the imagination. It was just over 3,000 feet of climbing, which is fun. It kicks your ass, but it's a lot of fun. Um, I also did a couple of gym workouts on my Experience Gym Monster. That kicked my butt. I kind of want to talk to you guys about that. What I've been noticing is that even though I've only lost, I did the math this morning, I think it's 6 pounds of muscle, which I'm down to 229 pounds now. Um, Still, 6 pounds of muscle, you can feel it. I definitely feel the difference in terms of what I'm able to bench press, in terms of what I'm able to consistently do in terms of repetitions, in terms of volume. It was difficult, but yeah, I got through it, and part of what I wanted to talk to you guys today about was nutrition and the importance of nutrition. Now, I mentioned that a good buddy of mine went down on a bicycle on Sunday, and he got seriously hurt. Part of that, come to find out, was that he blacked out or got lightheaded, and he doesn't remember anything before going down. Um, and he's under the impression that he went out and he blacked out before he hit the ground, or before he hit the barricade that caused him to hit the ground. That came, right after a significantly hard effort on the bike. So, and I've been there. I've felt where you feel a little lightheaded, things start to slow down a little bit. Um, and that's because he didn't feed. And there's a big difference between feeding and eating. Feeding is you have to feed. Especially if you're doing these endurance bike rides or something that requires a lot of effort, you have to feed. If you don't feed, you're going to be in trouble. Um, and eating is different. Eating is something that we tend to do for pleasure. Feeding is something where you're feeding the activity that you're doing. That's how you have to look at it. I started to look at food more as fuel rather than something that I enjoy eating. Uh, and sometimes you do try and enjoy it. Like I had a slice of pizza last night with my kids. Not something that I'm proud of, but not something I'm ashamed of either. Um, I've been very, very strict on my diet. I've been doing, mostly one meal, one major meal for the whole day, and it's a very healthy meal. Um, so I'm not at all disappointed to have not even I wouldn't even say call it a cheat day or a cheat meal. It was just hey, I'm hungry. I did burn over 1,000 calories on that ride that I did last night on Swift. And I said, all right, I want to have a slice of pizza, not two slices, not four slices, one slice of pizza. And it satisfied me. It satisfied the craving for junk. It satisfied the hunger, and it tasted good. um, but it's very important, especially when you're going on these long rides or these intense activities that you have to feed. There are various companies that make gels or chews, or you can even do it the natural way. For example, dates are very good, and figs are very good for feeding, especially while on a bicycle. Bananas are good while feeding, riding on the bike. So you see a lot of people have a banana in their back pocket when they're riding. Um, and also you also have to remember that we also have to have enough electrolytes. One thing that I found out while doing a lot of when I transitioned from mostly indoor riding to outdoor riding was that I sweat a lot more. And with the sweat, I lost a lot more minerals. So I started to get cramps. I have never in my life had gotten cramps before. Let me tell you, if you've ever got a serious leg cramp, it's not fun. It hurt. And it may seem comical to those around you, but you're in serious pain. What I found was electrolytes, regular sports drinks were not enough. I needed to supplement even the potassium and magnesium in those horse drinks was not enough. So I'd have to supplement that. But my biggest thing was salt. Um, and you're always taught not to consume a lot of salt, but when you sweat on the bike, a lot of that comes out is salt. So what I noticed is I would start. I had a good same buddy of mine that went down. Told me, hey, listen, you gotta start to experiment, and then once you start to listen to your body, you'll be fine. And I would add potassium and still get the cramps. I'd add magnesium, I still get the cramps, and then I started adding salt, and then the cramps subsided. So I said, okay. So now I use a very healthy brand of salt. I'm not sponsored by anybody or anything like that, but and that to me, I use a quarter tablespoon of salt, a quarter teaspoon, sorry, of salt in each of my bottles, and I carry little baggies of salt to add to my bottles when I'm filling up. Um, but yeah, it's definitely important. Nutrition and hydration are very, very, very important. Especially for me, this weekend coming up, I'm planning on doing two century rides. One tomorrow, which is Saturday, which is we're gonna be leaving from Hallandale Beach all the way down to Black Point Marina. And then on Sunday, I'm planning to do one from Weston, also down into Miami-Dade and back up. So, hopefully I'll be able to net 200, 210 miles for the weekend, but you can be guaranteed that I'm going to have some nutrition as well as a lot of hydration on the bike both days. Um, I'm also planning, hopefully, on Monday to be doing some more gym workouts. And in preparation for this ride in see Claremont, there you go. I am going to be doing climbing at least one hard or semi-hard climb every week until I get there, just to get the legs accustomed to the lactate acid buildup, and being able to pedal under pressure. So yeah, that's my plan. Again, just trying to give everybody an update as to where I am weight wise. As I said, I'm down to 229. I've been, this week has been somewhat hectic at work, and that's okay. That's fine. So next week I'm gonna refocus and see how I can continue to get this weight number closer to my goal. But yeah, that's all I got for you this week, guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you have a productive week ahead of you next week. And again, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's see how we can turn your struggles into your biggest strengths. Catch you next time.